You may have felt it more times than you can count. The quiet, persistent frustration of watching life unfold in ways you never intended. You set goals, you dream, you plan, yet somehow the results never seem to match the effort you put in. It's not that you are incapable or undeserving. It's that your inner energy, your subconscious patterns, beliefs, and habitual thoughts, has been quietly shaping your reality in ways you haven't noticed. This is what it means to be a match to lack. And the first step toward transformation is understanding that this is not your fault. It's simply the reflection of an unseen process, one that can be learned, observed, and consciously shifted. Imagine looking into a mirror, but instead of seeing your physical reflection, the mirror shows your life circumstances, your relationships, your financial reality, your health, and your emotional states. Every worry, every fear, every doubt you carry is projected outward, creating the circumstances that feel stuck, limited, or scarce. Most of us operate on autopilot, reacting to the world around us, trying to fix what we see outside, without realizing that the energy we carry is the real architect of our experience. It's like planting seeds in a garden but neglecting the soil in which they grow. The results will never flourish if the foundation isn't fertile. Being a match to lack doesn't mean you are failing. It means your vibration, the energy you are sending into the universe, is aligned with experiences of scarcity. It is a subtle, almost invisible force that dictates what opportunities, relationships, and abundance show up in your life. This is why sometimes, no matter how hard you work, no matter how many strategies or tips you follow, life feels like it's moving against you. The difference between remaining in lack and stepping into aligned abundance lies not in your actions alone, but in your inner state. Your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, they all form the invisible frequency that either attracts limitation or expansion. But here is the truth that changes everything. The very patterns that have kept you in a state of lack are also the patterns that can be transformed. The old self, the one caught in cycles of fear, comparison, and doubt, can be consciously observed and gradually shifted into a new self, one that naturally resonates with abundance, opportunity, and fulfillment. This transformation doesn't require perfection. It doesn't demand that you be ready or earn it. It begins with awareness, the gentle but powerful act of noticing where your energy is misaligned and where it unconsciously mirrors scarcity. Throughout this video we will explore this process deeply, gently unraveling the subconscious habits and beliefs that keep you in lack. We will contrast the old self with the new self, showing how simple yet profound shifts in perspective, emotion, and thought can change the trajectory of your life. You will learn to recognize the moments when you are unconsciously matching lack, and you will gain tools to redirect your energy toward alignment with abundance. By the end, the hope is not just that you understand the concept intellectually, but that you feel it in your body and your mind, the palpable sense that a different reality is possible, one that responds to the energy you carry rather than the limitations you've been told to accept. The journey you are about to take is not a quick fix or a superficial trick. It is a deep, immersive exploration into the unseen dynamics of your inner world and how they manifest in your outer reality. By observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment, by becoming aware of the habitual patterns that have guided your life so far, you begin the process of reclaiming control over the energy you emit. And as you do, life begins to respond in ways that may surprise you. Small synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, and moments of ease that were previously elusive become more frequent. What makes this process so empowering is that you are not a passive recipient of life. You are an active participant in the creation of your reality. You are not condemned to the limitations of the past. Every thought, every emotional response, every subtle energy shift matters. And once you recognize the power of these unseen forces, you gain the ability to consciously choose alignment over lack, expansion over scarcity, and abundance over limitation. This is the invitation of this journey, to pause, reflect, and become the deliberate creator of your own experience. By the time you reach the end of this video, you will not only understand the concept of being a match to lack, but you will also feel the possibility of shifting into a life that mirrors your true desires. You will begin to see the contrast between the old self, trapped in cycles of limitation, and the new self, resonating effortlessly with abundance. And most importantly, you will have the awareness and guidance to take the first conscious steps toward a reality that is aligned, expansive, and deeply fulfilling. Everything you experience in life begins within. Before any opportunity, any relationship, any circumstance manifests externally, it exists first as energy within you. This energy is shaped by your thoughts, your emotions, and your beliefs, most of which operate below the level of conscious awareness. Understanding this mechanism is crucial if you want to stop being a match to lack. It's not enough to want more, to visualize, or to work harder. If your internal vibration is aligned with limitation, the outer world will inevitably mirror that alignment. The universe responds to frequency, not wishful thinking. Think of your inner world as a radio station. Whatever signal you broadcast, that is what the universe tunes into and delivers back to you. If your frequency vibrates with scarcity, fear, or doubt, your life will reflect scarcity, fear, and doubt. If your frequency resonates with abundance, gratitude, and confidence, opportunities, wealth, and love will naturally flow toward you. Most people are unconsciously broadcasting scarcity most of the time, not because they are unworthy, but because old thought patterns, inherited beliefs, and unresolved emotional experiences have conditioned them to operate from a low vibration state. It is subtle, invisible, yet immensely powerful. Fear is one of the strongest signals that keeps you anchored in lack. Fear of not having enough, fear of failing, fear of rejection, or fear of the unknown sends a signal that echoes through your energy field. Every time you ruminate on scarcity or replay stories of limitation from your past, you reinforce that vibrational pattern. The mind has a natural tendency to focus on danger, lack, or loss, and unless consciously redirected, this focus becomes a habitual signal, a constant reminder to the universe that you are still matching limitation. Beliefs, too, play a silent but decisive role. Many of us carry beliefs that subtly restrict our potential. I am not enough, life is hard, or I will never have what I truly desire. These beliefs form the blueprint for your reality. They dictate what you allow to come into your life, what opportunities you see, and what actions feel possible. Even if your conscious mind wants abundance, if your subconscious mind is unconsciously aligned with limitation, the external world will continue to reflect lack. It is this misalignment between conscious desire and subconscious belief that keeps so many people stuck, frustrated, and yearning for change without understanding why it feels so difficult. The contrast between the old self and the new self becomes apparent here. The old self is reactive, caught in cycles of fear, doubt, and comparison. It is constantly looking outside for validation, approval, and evidence that abundance is possible, and in doing so, it often strengthens the very patterns it seeks to escape. The new self, on the other hand, understands that inner alignment precedes outer manifestation. It begins to consciously choose thoughts, emotions, and beliefs that reflect the reality it desires, trusting that the universe responds to this internal harmony. The difference between the two selves is subtle yet profound. One is a mirror of limitation, the other a beacon of possibility. Energy is not just a spiritual metaphor, it is a practical, measurable reality. Modern science and quantum physics suggest that everything in existence vibrates, from the smallest particle to the largest celestial body. Your body, your mind, and even your emotions emit specific frequencies that interact with the world around you. By consciously raising your vibration through practices such as meditation, visualization, or emotional alignment, you shift the probability of experiences that match abundance, joy, and fulfillment. Understanding this gives you the power to recognize that your reality is not fixed. It is flexible, responsive, and ultimately shaped by the energy you emit. Yet, it's important to approach this with compassion and patience. Shifting your vibration does not happen overnight, and the process is not about forcing positivity or ignoring challenges. True alignment comes from observing your inner world without judgment, acknowledging fear and scarcity when they arise, and gently redirecting your focus toward empowerment, possibility, and growth. It's the act of choosing awareness over autopilot, energy over reaction, and conscious creation over unconscious repetition. Stories and examples can help illustrate this point. Consider someone who constantly worries about money. Every anxious thought, every fear of not enough, reinforces a vibrational pattern that matches financial struggle. Despite working hard, they may find themselves repeatedly facing obstacles. When they begin to observe these thoughts, replace them with a sense of trust, and feel the emotional resonance of having enough, their external circumstances begin to shift, not magically but as a natural reflection of their inner state. Opportunities that once went unnoticed suddenly appear, solutions become clearer, and life begins to feel less like a struggle and more like a flow of co-creation with the universe. In essence, understanding the mechanics of reality is about seeing life through the lens of energy and alignment. It's about recognizing that what you attract is always a reflection of your inner world, that old patterns of lack can be observed and transformed, and that conscious alignment is the bridge between the reality you experience now and the reality you desire. The universe is impartial, it does not judge, punish, or favor. It simply mirrors back the frequency you are consistently broadcasting. By becoming aware of this dynamic, you gain the power to step off autopilot, to observe old patterns without judgment, and to deliberately cultivate the vibrational state that matches the life you wish to live. Understanding this principle is liberating because it places responsibility, not as a burden but as empowerment. You realize that you are not at the mercy of circumstances, external conditions, or other people's choices. Instead, you are a co-creator capable of influencing your reality through inner alignment. Once you grasp this, the journey towards stopping being a match to lack becomes clear. It starts with awareness, moves through understanding, and progresses into deliberate, conscious practice. The power is in your hands. Your energy, your thoughts, and your emotional alignment are the tools that shape the life you experience. Before you can consciously shift your reality into alignment with abundance, you must first become intimately familiar with the patterns that have kept you trapped in lack. These patterns are subtle, often so deeply ingrained that you may not even notice them until you observe your life with a heightened sense of awareness. They are like invisible threads woven through your thoughts, emotions, habits, and choices, quietly shaping the experiences you attract. Recognizing these patterns is not about blame or self-criticism. It is about illumination. Awareness is the first step toward conscious creation, and until you see what has been hidden, transformation remains incomplete. One of the most common patterns of lack begins in thought. The mind is constantly processing, analyzing, and projecting scenarios into the future. When the mind is dominated by thoughts of scarcity, limitation, or inadequacy, it sends signals that the universe interprets as a match to the same. You might notice thoughts such as, "I will never be enough," "opportunities always go to others," or "I don't deserve success." These statements, repeated often, form a mental loop that conditions your subconscious to align with limitation. Even when you consciously desire abundance, these underlying thought patterns pull your reality back into alignment with lack. Recognizing these loops is crucial because once you see them, you can begin to consciously intervene and redirect your mental energy. Emotions are another powerful indicator of patterns of lack. Pay attention to what you feel most frequently. Fear, anxiety, frustration, resentment, and envy are vibrational signals of scarcity. When you feel these emotions regularly, they are often pointing to unconscious beliefs and internalized stories about limitation. For instance, if you find yourself consistently worrying about money, relationships, or health, your energy is likely broadcasting scarcity, regardless of what you tell yourself consciously. Emotional patterns act as the language of your inner world. They communicate to the universe the reality you are currently matching. By observing your emotional state without judgment, you can begin to decode which areas of your life are aligned with lack and which are open to transformation. Beyond thoughts and emotions, habits and behaviors are also reflections of scarcity patterns. Do you procrastinate on opportunities because you doubt your worth? Do you avoid taking risks because of fear of failure? Do you repeatedly make choices that do not serve your growth or your well-being? These behaviors often stem from deeply embedded beliefs about limitation and lack. For example, someone who grew up in an environment where abundance was scarce may unconsciously replicate similar patterns in adulthood, even if they now have access to opportunities and resources. Recognizing these habits as energetic signals rather than moral failings allows you to approach change with curiosity and compassion rather than guilt. The people and environments you attract can also serve as mirrors of your inner patterns. Notice the relationships, friendships, and work situations that dominate your life. Do they feel supportive and expansive, or do they reinforce limitation and fear? Often, people unconsciously draw into their lives situations and individuals that mirror their internal state. If you consistently encounter obstacles, conflicts, or scarcity, it may be a reflection of unobserved internal patterns that continue to align you with lack. By observing these external mirrors, you gain insight into the specific areas within yourself that require attention and energetic recalibration. A practical way to identify these patterns is through journaling and reflection. Begin by observing your daily thoughts and emotional responses without judgment. Write down recurring fears, doubts, and self-critical statements. Reflect on moments when you felt frustrated, stuck, or dissatisfied. Ask yourself, what beliefs or expectations were underlying this experience? What story about myself or life was I unconsciously reinforcing? Over time, patterns begin to emerge, threads that connect recurring challenges, emotional responses, and limiting behaviors. These threads are the exact patterns that must be transformed to stop being a match to lack. Another effective method is to notice comparison and resistance. How often do you compare your life to others or feel envy, jealousy, or resentment? These feelings are subtle indicators that your energy is tuned to lack rather than alignment. Resistance to what is happening in your life, whether in circumstances, relationships, or personal growth, also signals misalignment. When you resist reality, you strengthen the vibration of scarcity, creating a feedback loop that perpetuates limitation. Becoming aware of comparison and resistance allows you to pause, observe, and consciously shift your focus toward gratitude, acceptance, and energetic alignment. Visualization can help you detect patterns as well. Close your eyes and imagine the life you desire. Notice any discomfort, doubt, or resistance that arises. These reactions often reveal the subconscious beliefs and patterns that conflict with your vision. For example, imagining financial abundance may trigger thoughts like, "I could never earn that much," or "people like me don't get opportunities like that." These subconscious responses highlight the specific patterns of lack that need conscious attention. By bringing them to light, you create the space to gradually release them and replace them with empowering beliefs and energetic states. Self-awareness is the bridge between unconscious limitation and conscious creation. Without it, transformation is superficial. With it, you gain the ability to intentionally shift your energy and align with abundance. Recognizing your patterns is an act of courage and honesty, a willingness to confront what has been hidden within. It is not about fixing yourself overnight but about creating awareness, observing without judgment, and gently beginning the work of realignment. Finally, it's essential to understand that identifying patterns of lack is not a one-time process. These patterns are layered and often subtle, revealing themselves gradually over time. As you increase your awareness, more hidden threads will surface, giving you further opportunities to consciously shift your energy. The practice of observation, journaling, reflection, and mindful attention becomes a lifelong tool that strengthens your ability to stay aligned with abundance rather than limitation. By patiently identifying and observing these patterns, you lay the foundation for the next phase, consciously transforming your energy to become a match for the reality you desire. Once you have identified the patterns that keep you anchored in lack, the next step is to consciously transform your inner world so that it aligns with abundance. This transformation is not about forcing positivity or pretending that challenges do not exist. It is about intentionally cultivating energy, thought, and emotion that vibrates at a frequency of possibility, expansion, and fulfillment. The old self, trapped in fear, doubt, and scarcity, can be gradually replaced by a new self who responds to life with trust, confidence, and alignment. The key is deliberate, consistent practice that reshapes your mental, emotional, and energetic habits. One of the most powerful ways to begin this transformation is through visualization. Visualization is not simply imagining what you want. It is immersing yourself in the experience as though it is already real. Close your eyes and picture the life you desire. Feel the emotions, see the details, and engage all your senses. The new self does not doubt that abundance is possible. It embodies the reality of having it. By repeatedly practicing this, you retrain your subconscious mind to recognize abundance as natural, familiar, and attainable, gradually replacing old scarcity patterns with new energetic resonance. Visualization works because your energy does not distinguish between imagined experience and physical reality. It responds to the emotional and vibrational quality you emit. Affirmations and intentional statements are another essential tool in shifting your alignment. Words carry vibrational energy that can reprogram the subconscious mind when used consistently and mindfully. Simple statements like, "I am worthy of abundance," "opportunities flow to me effortlessly," or "I am aligned with the life I desire," may feel awkward at first, especially if your old patterns are strong. That is natural. The old self will resist. It may generate doubts, mockery, or discomfort. Persistence, however, gradually shifts the internal dialogue, creating a new framework for thought and belief that resonates with expansion rather than limitation. Emotional alignment is equally crucial. Often, people focus on thoughts and visualization but neglect the emotional component of energy. Feeling abundance, gratitude, joy, and trust in your present moment is the signal the universe responds to. Begin to notice moments where you can cultivate positive emotion, no matter how small. Gratitude practices, mindful appreciation, and feeling genuinely good about what you already have are profound ways to shift energy. The new self does not wait for external circumstances to feel abundant. It generates abundance internally and radiates that energy outward. Another critical aspect of transformation is releasing attachment to outcome. Being a match to abundance does not mean obsessing over results or clinging to specific manifestations. The old self often becomes anxious, fixated, and resistant when things do not unfold exactly as imagined. The new self, however, trusts the process and understands that life responds to vibrational resonance rather than forced effort. By letting go of tight attachment and embracing a sense of surrender, You create space for opportunities, synchronicities, and unexpected blessings to enter your reality naturally. Daily routines and habits play a significant role in solidifying transformation. Incorporate small, intentional practices that reinforce abundance alignment. Journaling thoughts and emotions, meditating to center your energy, visualizing desired experiences, expressing gratitude, and consciously choosing empowering beliefs. These practices, when repeated consistently, reshape your internal environment and create lasting energetic change. Transformation is cumulative. Small, consistent actions compound over time, gradually replacing the old self with the new, aligned self. Energy management is another essential component. Pay attention to where you focus your attention and where you invest your emotional energy. Avoid dwelling on lack, negativity, or comparison, and redirect your energy toward experiences, people, and activities that uplift, inspire, and expand your vibration. Protecting your energetic boundaries is crucial. The old self often absorbs scarcity and limitation from the external environment, unconsciously reinforcing old patterns. The new self, however, cultivates discernment, selectively engaging with energy that supports alignment and growth. It is also important to embrace self-compassion throughout this process. Transformation is not linear. There will be moments when old patterns resurface, when fear creeps back in, or when scarcity thoughts dominate. These moments are not failures. They are opportunities to observe, acknowledge, and gently redirect your energy. Treat yourself with kindness, understanding, and patience, just as you would nurture a friend learning a new skill. Every moment of awareness, no matter how small, contributes to your realignment and strengthens your capacity to be a match for abundance. One practical method to accelerate alignment is to consciously monitor your internal dialogue. Catch negative thoughts and replace them with affirming statements or empowering questions. Instead of thinking, "Why does this always happen to me?" shift to, "What can I learn from this experience and how can I use it to align with abundance?" This subtle shift in perspective rewires neural pathways, elevates vibration, and signals to the universe a readiness to receive. The contrast between fear-driven thought and conscious alignment becomes the marker of your transformation. Finally, transformation requires trust in timing and process. The old self often expects immediate results and judges the lack of visible change as failure. The new self understands that alignment is an ongoing process, and that consistent vibration eventually produces corresponding experiences. By trusting your inner guidance, observing patterns without judgment, and consciously choosing alignment over scarcity, you gradually embody the reality you desire. Life begins to mirror the internal shifts, and you start noticing synchronicities, opportunities, and experiences that once seemed impossible. Transformation into a match for abundance is not merely a set of techniques. It is a complete reorientation of your relationship with yourself, your energy, and the universe. By consciously observing old patterns, engaging in deliberate practices of visualization, affirmation, gratitude, emotional alignment, and energy management, and by embracing trust, patience, and self-compassion, you step into a new way of being. The new self is no longer defined by limitation. It vibrates effortlessly in alignment with abundance, radiating possibilities and attracting the experiences that reflect its frequency. The journey from fear to alignment, from scarcity to abundance, is not always instantaneous, but with commitment and awareness, it becomes an inevitable natural flow of life. As we come to the close of this journey, take a moment to breathe. Feel the quiet within you, the stillness that exists beneath all the noise, the striving, the thoughts, and the worries. That stillness is where alignment begins. It is where abundance flows naturally, effortlessly, without resistance. Everything you have learned here, the understanding of vibration, the awareness of your patterns, the tools for transformation, all of it leads you back to this space, the space of conscious presence. Being a match to lack was never a personal flaw. It was simply an unconscious alignment, a habitual frequency formed through years of conditioning, fear, and misunderstanding. Now, however, you have begun to awaken. You've learned that your thoughts are not fixed, they can be chosen. Your emotions are not enemies, they are signals guiding you toward alignment. Your beliefs are not prisons, they are simply stories that can be rewritten. The moment you become aware, you reclaim your creative power, the same power that shapes your experiences, relationships, and every moment of your life. The truth is, you were never separate from abundance. You've always been connected to it. The feeling of lack was only the result of forgetting that connection, of believing that abundance exists somewhere outside of you, waiting to be earned, proven, or achieved. But abundance is not something you chase, it's something you remember. It's a frequency that already exists within you, waiting to be activated through awareness and alignment. When you stop searching for it in the external world and start cultivating it internally, life begins to respond differently. The right people, opportunities, and experiences appear naturally because they are drawn to the energy you now embody. It is easy to forget this truth in a world that constantly tells you you're not enough, not successful enough, not beautiful enough, not doing enough. Society thrives on convincing you that abundance is scarce, that you must compete and strive endlessly to prove your worth. But the awakened self no longer participates in that illusion. You now understand that your worth is inherent, and your vibration is your true currency. When your energy is aligned with gratitude, peace, and self-trust, you become magnetic, not through effort but through being. Transformation, of course, is an ongoing journey. There will be days when old patterns re-emerge, when scarcity thoughts whisper in your ear, when fear tries to pull you back into the comfort of the familiar. In those moments, remember what you now know. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the consciousness that observes them, the awareness that chooses alignment again and again. Every time you choose awareness over reaction, love over fear, and gratitude over worry, you shift your vibration. You send a new signal into the universe, a signal that says, I am ready. I am aligned. I am abundant. Take this as a quiet invitation. Live from alignment, not reaction. Begin each day with intention. Notice the energy you bring into your interactions, your work, your dreams. Catch yourself when you slip into lack and gently redirect your awareness toward trust and appreciation. The smallest shift in energy, repeated consistently, has the power to transform the entire landscape of your life. Remember, abundance is not measured by how much you possess but by how deeply you feel connected, to yourself, to others, to the flow of life itself. The more you embody gratitude, love, and inner peace, the more the external world begins to mirror those frequencies back to you. So as this journey concludes, take one last deep breath. Let go of the old story of lack. Allow the new story of alignment and abundance to take its place. You are not striving toward abundance. You are becoming it. Every thought, every breath, every moment is an opportunity to tune your vibration to the frequency of your highest self. And in that frequency, quiet, grounded, and powerful, you will find that abundance was never missing. It was always here, waiting for you to remember who you truly are.